person strafes away from it, right, and you push that building. So let's say you toss your Q, you push the building. A lot of times, too, it lasts as long as a thermite, by the way, as well. So when you push the building and you shoot somebody, no matter what, you're going to be strafing. Even if you accidentally strafe back into it, you're taking 8 damage. I think it's 8 and 4, 8 and 4, or it's like 8, 4, 8, 4, 8, 4, 8, 4, something like that. That damage it's hitting for is damage you don't have to do to shoot your gun. To put it in perspective, I believe with the patch coming out, I think an alternator does 16 to the body and 24 headshots. So if he steps into it, or, the character you're fighting it steps into it twice, that's 2 bullets you don't have to hit. That's massive. But I also think that we need to stop giving damaging abilities to legends and stop giving these new legends like 10 different things. For all my Bangalore people out there, right? Like Bangalore has a smoke, she moves fast, and her ultimate takes like 10 years to explode.
Noko's 100% right. Noko's 110% right. I mained Seer when he came out until 1,000 kills, right? I'm doing 1,000 kills on every legend, and sometimes a legend gets released that's fresh, and I'm like, oh, cool, I want to have fun on it, and then I made it to 1,000 kills, right? I am sick and fucking tired of tacticals that do damage. Back in the day, way back in the day, Season 0, when I started the game, there was one tactical that actively did damage, and that was the gas canisters from Caustic. I don't totally like that either, but back then it kind of made sense. These were traps that were meant to stop you from pushing buildings, right? But I think that we need to take the damage out of his tactical. You want to have an ultimate that does damage? Fucking fine. A tactical that does damage is fucking stupid. The tactical, his gas canisters should just slow and blind. Because then that gives you a tactical advantage that allows you, and when a gas is, or like when a trap is triggered, you could do something like have an arrow, like a green arrow on the screen that points you and say, hey, someone triggered this trap. But the only other tactical that kind of sort of did damage back then was if Bangalore smoked you and the canister hit you, right? The canister could hit you and do like 10 damage or something like that. But like it wasn't a damage dealing tactical. That wasn't the point of it. The point of it was to blind your opponents and then have your Bloodhound go in with their ultimate and fuck shit up. Back in Season 0, when the game had fucking 8 legends, it was pretty obvious to the rest of us how tacticals were supposed to work. Tacticals were meant to give you a tactical advantage. You were supposed to think about how you were using the tactical, and then you would use that to your advantage. Something like, then we went, what did we do? We went to Octane, who his tactical advantage was the speed boost. And then Wattson got released. And that was another damage dealing tactical, which again shouldn't be a thing. I think they should increase the stun on the fences and take away the damage. It doesn't need to be there. There's no reason for it to be there. And her ultimate is super fucking good combined with those fences. Raise the fence cap, get rid of the damage, and slightly increase the stun by, I don't know, half a second. That gives it a tactical meaning without being a damage-dealing tactical for no good reason. Crypto comes along, and all of his kit revolves around his tactical, but it still gives you a tactical advantage. Crypto was entirely shit. I'm well aware of that. It's not what I'm talking about here. Who's next? Revenant. Revenant comes out. Revenant's silence. The point of the silence was not to do damage. But what does it do anyway? It does a free 10 damage. For what reason? The tactical idea of a tactical ability is to stop your opponent's abilities from going off. Most of the time, so you can catch the Wraith before she can phase Q away and be a little pain in your ass, right? So after he's released, we get Lobo, who's got a relocation, another movement ability tactical. Again, the tactical is to tactically help you in combat, to make you think about how you're using it, right? So Rampart releases Season 6. We get the tactical walls that don't do any damage, but they amplify damage. Tactical, think about what you're doing, right? I can keep going with this, right? Horizon comes out in Season 7. And I think Horizon was considered the most broken legend on release since Octane? Or was it Watson? I want to say Watson. Watson was considered pretty broken on release because she was just so oppressive in competitive. But Horizon's tactical again, and then we get again is just a gravity. It's just a thing. It's just a thing that helps you in the fight in some kind of way without directly dealing damage to the enemy. And then Fuse gets released, and we start to see a unsettling trend of tacticals doing damage. And in some cases, like Fuse and Maggie, massive amounts of fucking damage. I love Fuse. I think that the Knuckle Cluster should have been like this blinding type ability, right? It goes and maybe does more flashbangy type stuff as opposed to directly dealing 50 damage for free, right? And because he already had a good passive for damage dealing with Grenader. Being able to throw them faster, further, and have more was fine. There was no reason for him to have a damage dealing tactical ability. And now when you use Fuse, you don't have to really think about what you're doing. Just chuck the fucking thing while you're in a fight. That's all you need to do. I played Fuse for 1,000 kills. I know. All you had to do was just chuck the damn thing. You're in a fight, brrr, boom, brrr, free kill every time. Every time. Most of my 1,000 kills were done with a Knuckle Cluster or two tossed into the mix. It was ridiculous. Then we get Valkyrie. Valkyrie's little brrr, rocket things, they should just stun. Again, you can have tacticals that affect the player's movement, sight, and stuff like that without adding in damage. How many times in my 1,000 kills on Valkyrie did I kill somebody hiding behind a rock because 5 of those rockets hit them and there was nothing they could do because they had to heal up, because if they peeked again, I was going to kill them. You know what I mean? It's ridiculous. It doesn't need to be there. Season 10 sees Seer's release. Seer has that little 10 damage tunnel of fuck that he threw out. That wasn't the real problem with his tactical. There was a lot more that went into his tactical, like the flashbang, the 8-second scan, interrupt heals, interrupt rezzing, just a whole bunch of other stupid shit that made Seer so broken. The 10 damage wasn't the problem. But my point is that the damn thing never needed to do damage. It never needed the extra damage. Season 11, you have a tether. With Ashe, you have a tether. You have the ability to chuck out a little small surface area that the opponent cannot move from. Why does it do damage? Why does everything have to do damage? And now we have Maggie, the only character that I can viably tell you makes sense for her tactical to do damage, because its entire purpose is to hit people behind a wall. But the problem, it does 160 fucking damage. Why on God's green earth are tacticals able to do so much nowadays? Why is it with every single character release, they implement more and more shit surrounding tacticals? The tacticals don't need to do a lot. They just need to provide a tactical advantage. Save massive amounts of damage for ultimates. That's why they're called ultimates, because they're meant to turn the tide of a battle. And turning the tide of a battle can mean doing massive amounts of damage in a surface area. What's really fucked, and I haven't tested this fully because I don't really have any way to do so, but I'm fairly certain that Maggie's ultimate doesn't do as much fucking damage as her tactical does. I think what it does more is knockback and stun, right? And then it has a little speed boost. Maggie's ultimate is shit for damage. When you toss that bitch into a building, you're doing it to knock the opponent around and disorient them. I never toss her ultimate to do damage. I do it to give myself a tactical advantage. Oh my god, we've used that word so much. I don't understand why so many legends have to do so much damage with their tactical. This is a run and gun type of game. This is a game where the main premise of it, especially on release, was gunplay over abilities. The abilities were there to enhance the gunfights. They were not there to win gunfights for you. They were not implemented with the idea that you would be able to just fuck an opponent with your abilities, right? That's why ultimates actually used to have long ass cooldowns. But I mean, in general, a lot of them don't anymore. I think Maggie's ultimate comes up like every maybe 60 seconds. That's batshit. The only ultimate in the game, I think, the shortest ultimate in the game is Mirage's at 45 seconds, right? And that ultimate is only there because Mirage without it is pretty. Look, I've made Mirage since day 3. Okay, I've gotten over 10,000 kills between both platforms on the man. Without his ultimate, Mirage is pretty fucking useless. Like, that ultimate helps a lot. But my point is that we put so much faith. It's gone from feeling like its own game. Apex Legends, the battle royale set in the Titanfall 2 universe with abilities that enhance the gunplay, to Overwatch, the battle royale. In Overwatch, your abilities, your cooldown management was part of the skill of the game. And that's fine, but Overwatch never positioned itself as a shooter first. That's what Apex did. Apex positioned itself as a shooter first, and it provided a unique movement system with incredibly unique tactical abilities that enhanced your gunplay. And nowadays, every single tactical seems to do damage now. Nowadays, every single tactical just feels like more and more of just being a fucking pain in the ass as opposed to something that enhances the player itself. They've even buffed older tacticals to where they may not do damage, but they just do so much more than they need to. Like Bloodhound Scan. Bloodhound Scan used to take a snapshot to tell you how many enemies were in a building before you pushed. Now it does a full-on scan that shows you for like 1.5 seconds to 2 seconds which direction the enemy is heading. That is so unnecessary. That is why people got so mad about the wall hack meta during Seer. Because if you had a Seer and a Bloodhound on the same team, no opponent was leaving. You couldn't outplay your opponents. You couldn't do jack of shit. Because one has a passive wall hack, the other one has a wall hack the size of New Hampshire, and the one with a passive wall hack could send you a tunnel of fuck you that would show where you are for an additional 8 seconds. It was just ridiculous. And they keep trying to update this game to be more ability friendly for reasons I can't quite figure out. Why have I been wearing headphones this entire video? I don't freaking know. I'm not. I just decided to do this, on a thing. But damage dealing abilities for damage dealing tacticals just don't belong in Apex Legends. They just don't. One of these days, I'm going to make a video like detailing all of the problems with Apex, and in that video, I'm definitely going to bring up the damage dealing tacticals again. It's just ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. I think Apex Legends really needs to have an overhaul of the abilities. Every damage dealing tactical needs to be reworked to be a tactical gunfight enhancing ability as opposed to something that can win the fights for you. It needs to be different. It needs to enhance the gunplay, not replace it. Thank you guys for watching this sporadic video that I decided to film while waiting on long-ass duo queues. I hope you guys all have a fantastic day. And, yeah, we'll end it.